I then had a meeting with the technical director of FIFA to find out what the holdup was. They then informed me that they were a bit reluctant for us to hire a technical director now before the elections, because their experience on the rest of the African continent is that once a new leadership is elected, the first position to go, or the first person to go, is the technical director. I had then had to reassure them, which is what I've done last week in writing, that whatever technical director we put in place is not going to be taken out here by an election process or the outcomes of the election. And I think this country is mature enough to recognize the separation between the political structures and the administrative structures. So I had to give them some assurance that the new leadership is not going to go after, for one, because this country has labor laws that require certain processes to be followed. And we can't just willy-nilly come and decide on political basis that we're going to change a technical director. After the 2009 election, we did not do that, and we don't foresee that happening as well. So I think on that basis, FIFA has then agreed to come in and then assist us in the selection of the technical director. So that process is now finally underway, but the problem was that FIFA was very, very reluctant, because of the political process, for us to appoint a technical director. They've asked us to whittle down from the 28 applicants who have applied. They wanted us to give them 5 names. We'll give them 5 names by the end of the week, and then hopefully by within a week, or at the most 10 days from the time they receive it, they will then be here to assist us in the selection of the technical director. So we'll then put the 5 people through the paces here. Hopefully shortly after that we can then have the appointment done.
Are they all South African?
They're all South African.
With good expertise?
We've targeted, we've said that we've done enough in terms of developing coaches. There are a number of level 3 coaches that we've developed over the last few years for us to feel comfortable, and even FIFA feels comfortable that we've progressed enough to be able to appoint a South African in this position. Our target is that we have to empower our own people in order to and let them go and improve their skills on a continual basis by getting outside assistance where necessary. But we are comfortable. We've developed enough people here locally to take on the role as technical director. So there have been some very, very good performances from those candidates those coaches who passed our level 3 course. The coaches for the junior teams will follow the appointment of the technical director. Even though on Saturday's technical committee told us that we must go ahead and we must advertise for the positions of the junior coaches as well. That's something that we will also do. I've given instructions to the acting technical director to place those ads for the junior coaching positions.
So they will be advertised?
They will be advertised, yeah.
When?
Yeah, it's part. Well, it should be this week for all of the junior coaches. Because you remember, all of those positions are vacant as a result of the Section 189 restructuring process. But we didn't do that on the basis that we wanted the technical director, because you don't want to bring in a technical director who didn't have any input in the appointment of coaches, you see. But the technical committee now said, nevertheless, let us go ahead and do that simultaneously with the sorting through of the applications for the technical director's position. Under 17, under 20, both men and women, and then the under 23. There's the Olympic cycle for the under 23 team. Then there's the African Youth Championship cycle for the under 20s, both men and women. So what we've asked the coaches to do in the meantime is to go and make sure that they identify the talent as much as they can, go around the country, make sure that they see what is happening out there. There's a lot of football taking place on a regular basis, and we need to then construct this talent pipeline, get the names, put them in a database, and let's then call them up when necessary, so that when we get back into the competition cycle, the continental or world football competition cycle, that these teams can be ready. So there is work taking place to a certain extent in the background. We've asked our coaches to give us budgets, for instance, for their talent scouting efforts. And so these things, although it's not visible, but there's a number of things that are happening in the background. Clearly, there will have to be a shift because I come from the old school, I still believe that our national teams, at least our junior national teams, we've proven in the past that we've been able to have some measure of success with our junior national teams when we went straight to those structures, in whether they are in urban or in the rural areas. We've had a lot of success in getting our talent from all areas around the country. So I'm a big believer in going into the SAFA structures because they produce them. We must just go and identify and find them. If there has been an urban bias, I think our coaches have gotten the message now that has to come to an end. So they must go and do scouting all around the country. In essence, it's not just limiting themselves to where they can walk or drive. They must be able to get to see what is being developed by all our regions. We have 52 regions around the country. Each and every region is playing football on a regular basis. So whatever talent comes through, all of the South African talent in the PSL that you see now and in the National First Division that you see now comes from a SAFA structure. Our coaches are not allowed to go to tournaments that have not been endorsed by this association. So if you run a tournament outside of the SAFA structures, you are not going to get players to be scouted from those tournaments. And there's a simple reason for that. We put a lot of resources and a lot of effort into producing players in a structured way on a consistent basis. And having a tournament as a once-off tournament for per year, you play for 1 week. Players come there highly motivated. They play for 1 week, and then after that tournament, they go back and they don't participate again in structured football. It doesn't make sense for the development of our players, and so we can't afford to go to these once-off knockout tournaments where that only happens for 1 week out of the year. We want for people and our players to be scouted in an environment where they can produce week in and week out and show some consistency in their performance.